December 20th, 1944. Outside Stavelot, Belgium. Snow crunches beneath hobnail boots as Oberstleutnant Karl-Heinz Bauer steps down from his half-track. The air smells of pine, cordite, and something sweeter. Fuel. Before him, hidden among frost-covered trees, stand rows upon rows of American fuel drums. Olive green barrels stacked shoulder-high. Tanker trucks parked in neat lines. Fuel bladders sagging under canvas tops, their surfaces dusted with fresh snow. His men stare in disbelief. For days, Bauer's Kampfgruppe has advanced through the Ardennes on a desperate timetable. The offensive, Hitler's last gamble in the West, depends on speed. On reaching the Maze River before Allied reserves can react. But speed requires gasoline, and Germany has almost none. Panzer IVs and Panthers sit abandoned along icy roads, their crews ordered to destroy them after running dry. Supply columns lag miles behind. Every kilometer forward burns fuel the Reich can barely spare. Now, suddenly, it is as if they have stumbled upon treasure. A German sergeant kicks one of the barrels. It slushies heavily. Real. Full. Genig Fertage. Someone whispers. Enough for days. Bauer allows himself the smallest smile. Perhaps fortune has turned. Perhaps this American depot, carelessly placed so close to the front, will give his panzers the breath they need. What he does not yet understand is that for the Allies, this is only one drop in an ocean. Within the hour, German fuel trucks begin siphoning gasoline from American storage tanks. Mechanics work feverishly, hands numb in the freezing air, refueling Panthers and self-propelled guns. Engines roar back to life one by one, exhaust vapor rising in white clouds against the dark forest. For Bauer's men, the depot feels miraculous. They calculate quickly. Tens of thousands of liters. Enough to push west. Enough to keep the offensive alive. Maps are unfolded across the hood of a Kubel wagon. Arrows drawn toward the mares. Orders shouted through crackling field radios. But even as the Germans celebrate, American logisticians miles behind the lines barely register the loss. At a re-area headquarters near Liege, U.S. Army quartermasters review inventory sheets under electric lamps. The numbers are staggering. Fuel reserves arriving from Antwerp, pipelines stretching from the coast, tanker convoys crossing the Atlantic without pause. The Red Bull Express thunders day and night. Trucks hauling gasoline in 5-gallon jerry cans stacked to the sky. One depot lost. Dozens remain untouched. For the Allies, fuel is arithmetic, columns of abundance. For Germany, it is oxygen. And oxygen is running thin. December 22nd, 1944. West of Stavelot, Bauer's column moves again. Panthers grind forward along frozen Belgian roads, tracks biting into ice. For the first time in days, fuel gauges rise instead of fall. The men feel it. The difference in morale when engines no longer sputter at every incline. But optimism fades quickly. The advance slows under constant Allied air presence. Even in winter, when clouds part, American P-47 Thunderbolts sweep low, hunting vehicles stranded on narrow roads. Every D2, every delay burns precious liters. Inside his command vehicle, Bauer studies consumption figures. A Panther can consume over 2 liters per kilometer in combat conditions. Idling engines devour fuel just to keep warm. The numbers are merciless. A staff officer approaches quietly. Herr Oberstleutnant, our reserve trucks are nearly empty again. The captured depot bought time, nothing more. Meanwhile, far to the west, American depots stretch across France and Belgium like a steel spine of supply. Massive tank farms near Antwerp. Fuel pipelines snaking inland. Tanker ships docking daily. An industrial machine that does not pause, does not tire. Germany, by contrast, depends on vulnerable synthetic fuel plants already shattered by bombing. Romanian oil fields lost. Rail lines cratered. Bauer begins to understand something unsettling. Even if he captures another depot, and another, it will never be enough. He is fighting not just an army. He is fighting an economy. December 24th, 1944. Approaching the mares. The advance stalls. Snow falls steadily now, muffling artillery in the distance. Bauer stands beside a silent Panther, its engine compartment open, mechanics arguing in low voices. The fuel line is dry again. Around him, vehicles sit scattered along the roadside, some abandoned, others siphoned down to fumes. What began days earlier as a bold thrust toward Antwerp has thinned into isolated pockets of armor clinging to dwindling reserves. A courier arrives with orders from higher command. Hold positions. Await resupply. Bauer almost laughs. Resupply? From where? German fuel production has collapsed under relentless Allied bombing. Synthetic plants at Luna and Politz burn under the weight of American air raids. The once critical Romanian oil fields at Ploiesti are gone. Railcars that do carry fuel are targeted by fighter bombers before they reach the front. Meanwhile, intercepted intelligence reports tell a different story. American pipelines, the big inch and little inch, pump millions of gallons daily from ports into forward depots. Tankers cross the Atlantic in protected convoys. Even when one depot falls, another stands ready beyond the next ridge. The captured American dump that seemed like salvation now feels insignificant. Bauer looks westward, toward the Maas River he will never reach. For Germany, every liter is fought over. For the Allies, fuel flows like a river that never runs dry. And in modern war, rivers decide everything. December 26, 1944. The Ardennes. The offensive is unraveling. American counterattacks press from north and south. Artillery thunders through the forest. Columns that once pushed confidently west now withdraw eastward. Engines coughing, some towed, many abandoned. Bauer walks past a row of immobilized vehicles. Panthers, half-tracks, trucks stripped of anything useful. Crews destroy what they cannot move. Explosions echo hollow through the trees as demolition charges rip through steel hulls. A junior officer approaches him quietly. Herr Oberstleutnant, we captured one of their depots. They built 10 more behind it. Bauer says nothing. He remembers the moment days earlier. The rows of American fuel drums, the sense of triumph. It had felt decisive, like seizing the artery of an enemy. But it was only a capillary. Across the channel, refineries operate without pause. In Texas, in Pennsylvania, in California, oil wells pump day and night. Tankers sail. Pipelines run. Assembly lines produce trucks, jerry cans, storage tanks. The Allied war machine feeds itself endlessly. Germany cannot match it. Not in fuel, not in steel, not in time. As snow continues to fall, Bauer watches the horizon and understands what this war has become. Not a contest of bravery alone, not even of tactics, but of production. The Ardennes offensive will fail. Not because German soldiers lack skill or resolve, but because their tanks cannot move. And when a tank cannot move, it is already defeated.